Okay, hi everyone. So it's Wednesday. We're going to go through the Morn style, and we're going to go through some of the basics and then run through that form that we've been working on. It's called Yethikun. It's the one chi, Yethikun is the one chi breath and movement form, and it's the fundamental to the system. We've been working a lot on the footwork and the positioning. And what makes this style unique is the movements are pretty condensed, and it's hard to see, the large movements that some other styles have. So it's, hard to capture the dimensional changes in the movements that makes it difficult to track sometimes, especially when you're looking at me from the frontal direction. Okay, so let's get into the shoulder width stance, and we're going to do some of these basic drills that we do to keep loose. Okay, second movement. Next, lower hoop. So we have these geometry of positions where I define them as lower hoop, middle hoop, upper hoop, triangle position, center line, square movements. So I use the geometry to define direction. So once we're in the lower hoop position and we put one finger or the middle finger on your center line, you can see that there's your thrust, and then this drops. So keep it loose, but still focused. You have to have this blend of action, accuracy, and you develop this precision timing over time. Okay? Next, cross your hands at the wrist, and we go out to the sides. Okay, shake it out. Deep breathing. So what's unique in some of our movements is that it's so different and so sort of foreign to what we typically see in a lot of different martial arts. And the thing is, it just shows you how amazing the human anatomy and human adaptation to movement can be. Because, without actually realizing that these movements exist, it's hard for you to just format that in your brain or even think that there was any kind of action going in the way that we're doing it. So this is what becomes very new to your training and very different from what would be the normal approach to typical martial arts. What we know in typical martial arts is the low block, the high block, the punch, those type of things that are pretty standard. Something like this is very unique. It's different in its approach, and it's different in its execution. That's makes it interesting for some people, but not appealing at all to others. So it's one of those styles. Okay, now I'm going to step up and work the shoulder a bit. Again, we're going to switch. Okay, center, back. center. Okay, deep breathing, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, hands in your waist, heels together, bend your knees, touch down, 1, 2. So this is yin-yang leg. It's really like a vertical heel kick and turning your hip out. So it's the sole of your foot. It's working a stomp kick or the blade of your foot. Okay, it's just practicing turning your hips in and out. And it does work balance and strengthen the legs and coordination. So it's something that really is required as footwork, knowing the two positions. Okay, shake it out. Okay, deep breathing again. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Now we're going to do the drilling movement. And here. Okay. I'll form the angular position. Other side. Okay. Next. So we alternate the hands. Okay. So here. Okay. 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 Then you make your fist, light fist. Okay, out to the corner. And center. Okay, deep breathing. So all these exercises actually lead into movements that are inside the form. So as typically we do all drills, they're really fundamentals to build, whether it's sequential or posturing, positions. We work the hands and the legs. Yit-Hee-Kun has the stepping and so forth. And your hand movements would be like this or like this. Okay, then this would be your action. And we look in the mirror. And we step up like this. We have the position. We have the position. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. This is closing. So it gives you a sense of the turning and closing. Okay. So you can see the form itself is fairly simple. It's only a couple of movements. The difficulty is the timing, the execution, the accuracy of movement. It comes just like everything else that we do through muscle memory, spatial awareness, directing a movement, and then the dimensional changes that happen so quickly that it's hard to pick up right away because the body doesn't respond the way that it should. So while I did it like that so you could get a visual interpretation of what the movement should be like, you have to slow things down. You have to work the movements until your body really gets familiar with it and to take out any of the tension in the body. Now, tension is created by what? Tension is created by muscular contraction and the inability to release that tension, inability to relax, inability. So you have to learn to do that. Part of it is the mindfulness of your position, and the other thing is that don't try too hard. Sometimes when you do something and you try too hard, it doesn't work the way you want it to come, way you want it to. So I just went through a bunch of movements, series of movements that some of you are familiar with, some of you are not. Some of it is for students that have been learning or been following, or some of the other people that are part of the school, some of the instructors, some of the advanced people have been doing some of this. And we've been focusing mainly on Yehikun for you to learn. So, the movement that goes to the corner, so you so you have an example of, what some of these movements represent when you do them in another form. We have a form, it's called 3 continuous strikes, and anyone that knows this form can follow along. So that's those movements that you saw earlier put together in a sequence, and it becomes a form. So our forms are very short. They're very short and very quick and explosive in a way, because you're developing what typical people think is explosive power. So like in Tai Chi, explosive power is Fa Jing, releasing the power, but the movements have to be accentuated. So when you create a movement, it does have a explosiveness in the movement. So it gives you the chance to realize, how the body works and responds. So it is in a sense, advanced skill level to develop the integration of body and keeping movement small. Most of the styles of whether it's Tai Chi or Kung Fu, the effective movements are actually the small movements. So even in Tai Chi, whether it's they have different frameworks of your form, the large frame, expansive, looks good. Those are the ones that actually do great in competition. The small movement form and the medium movement form, the medium movement one might be better for health and physical exercise that's not as demanding as the big stances. And then as far as application and self-defense, really it comes with the smaller frame movement. So, when you study Fuok Tai Mon, you have the both, you have, actually there's 3 styles. You have the both worlds combined together. You have the small frame, the medium frame, and the large frame. So all of it when you pull it all together, you have all the components of what you need, whether you're a competitor, whether you're for self-defense or application. You have all of those concepts built into our style, and that's what makes up a system, and that's what we teach. We teach, all brands of those ideas. So let's do Yehikun now, okay? So we start off, there's the line here, so we're like this. So I say you can go down, go to your center line, so it's breath and movement, inhalation, exhalation. So it's, some styles call it spit and swallow. It's really one in, one out, one in, one out. So this is Tan Tu Kun, it's breathing in and out, right? So it's something that you have to put the effort in, you practice, and then you build that continuity. So breath, we stand like this. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So this is a ball. So your breath should be here. When you inhale, exhale. So, most forms of breath and movement really involve some motion. But because this is a martial art, our breath and movement combine together, but the movement itself has to have a kind of framework and a kind of structure in your movement. So when we move, we want to build that integration of body so that your upper and the lower body will connect. And then the breath and movement has to do with the expansion and contraction, but your breath should be down here because of the diaphragmatic breathing. Press down, inhale it, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So your breath, both inhalation and exhale, should be to the nose. The tongue should touch the roof of your mouth. Okay. Then let your movements accommodate the motion and allow your body to be part of that breath. And that's really, what the term Qi Gong is He Gong is breath and movement. Then there's what they call, like in iron wire form, it's called Nui Gong or Nei Gong. It's really more of increasing the pressure in the body to strengthen the insides, your innards. So the change in pressure changes, the response, because everything we're dealing with is not only muscles, but even your organs have to have circulation, because that's what keeps everything going. Our body needs oxygen, it needs nutrients, it needs the chemicals produced in the fuel, and that's really from your food, your nutrients, your intake. All of this is tied together, and how this stuff circulates in the body is really through your movements. So the focus, the energy in the movement, really refining the strength. Someone asked me yesterday, what is the difference? Actually, it's refined strength. Refined strength is actually what Jing is, or Ging. Refining your movement is really the integration of your body, tied to breath, movement, and accuracy and position. And then how much strength you use is regulated by what you've trained the body to do from what the mindfulness of that action is. So that's really what happens in our practice. Whether you understand that or not, or you think it's mystical, it's not mystical, it's actually the reality. The human body functions along these guidelines. There's science to it. It's supported by many things. Some things that you see maybe is unsupported and unexplained, but those things that are unsupported, unexplained, are kept mystical, but at the same time, because they can't explain it, they don't need to explain it, so that they can keep you in the dark. What I'm showing you is physical movement with a level of accuracy and intrinsicness and motion that the human body is capable of doing. It's working your mind, your brain, it's working your apparatus, which is your body, and then everything else kind of falls into place. So when we're doing this or this, I want you to know that there's two beginning movements, per se. So when we start off, inhale, exhale, set it up. So you're stable at this point. Take your step. Inhale, exhale. So that's a short breath, quick, sudden, and it's, I don't know if you can hear it, in the mic, but you can hear your breath. This is one of the few methods that you actually can listen to that breath. The other thing, typically in Tai Chi or some of these, it's a silent breath. Yeah.
Actually, you had a question that, is it reverse abdominal breathing for your
Yeah. So reverse abdominal breathing is the way it's done in most of the internal arts, including Tai Chi. Reverse abdominal breathing, your stomach draws in like your navel is going toward your spine, and then when you exhale, it fills. So that's reverse breathing. Natural breathing is you fill like a balloon, and then when it collapses, you do that. So with the reverse breathing, it has more internal pressure going. So it is reverse breathing. It's true. It is reverse breathing. So when you lift up, inhale, exhale, your breath press down. So at the same time, when you issue power, your body should actually exhale, and the energy goes down. Okay, so it is reverse breathing. But that reverse breathing becomes natural. Don't force the breath, and because it's one movement, one breath, that's very sudden and short. So the faster you do it, the faster the breath goes. But it's because it's very simple movement. You can't do this kind of breathing action in something like Tai Chi or some of the bigger forms, because sometimes when you're doing a movement in Tai Chi, it has multiple transitions. What part of this movement do you usually use as part of the movement is really, because when you issue the power or you use the strength, it's only at that instant that you would do that, and that's where you would go or let it go. Right? So that's what the kind of power that you have. All these positions are really, when you're here, at that point you would release the power, but in between, it's kind of contained. So, that's a good exposure. A lot of people that are watching is kind of interested. Morn is very unique, and I hope you enjoyed this. Give us a thumbs up. Tomorrow, typically we have the intermediate advanced pillar forms at, I think it's, what time is that usually? 2:45. 1:45 to 2:15. So tomorrow we won't have that class because we have a web meeting with the Parkinson's Foundation. It's actually a Zoom. It's a Zoom meeting, and it's on the screen. So that's really for people, because I do a program for people with Parkinson's disease, and the Parkinson's Foundation is doing the Zoom with their network of people. So for this one session, we're just going to cancel tomorrow's session. We don't do that often, but so come back on Saturday and follow us on the Advanced Kung Fu. You have to look at the time for that. But tomorrow we won't have that specific class. But the stuff is still on screen tomorrow.
We'll still have our Tai Chi class
Yeah.
from 9:30 to 11, and we'll...
Yeah. So in the morning we still have the 9:30 to 11 Tai Chi. 108 and Tai Chi Paradigm. And then after that, we have the beginner, intermediate Kung Fu. So during that Kung Fu session, it's a 1 hour class. If you have some questions, if you're tuning in, you're welcome to do that. And, hopefully you can see us in the morning rather than the afternoon. Okay, so on that note, hope you enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up, YouTube, the whole bit. Subscribe and, share it with friends. Hope you enjoyed that. And if you have questions, the important thing is to, kind of connect with us and, use the chat or whatever. Okay, I'll talk to you.